Elikio Bishop, the self-proclaimed nature boy, seemed to emerge from the depths of the internet, a digital prophet promising paradise. His presence was magnetic, his voice a siren call to those disillusioned by the trappings of modern society. He painted vivid pictures of a utopian existence, far removed from the chaos and noise of urban life. A life where one could reconnect with the earth, breathe freely, and live in harmony with nature. His words, laced with spirituality and rebellion, resonated with those yearning for something more. They were tired of the daily grind, the endless cycle of work and consumption. They sought meaning, purpose, and a deeper connection to the world around them. He offered escape from the mundane, the restrictive, the soul-crushing weight of modern life. To many, he was a beacon of hope, a guide to a better way of living. His message was simple yet profound: return to nature, embrace simplicity, and find true happiness. He beckoned followers to exotic locales, to a life intertwined with nature, to a community where they truly belonged. In these idyllic settings, they found solace and a sense of belonging that had eluded them in the concrete jungles of their past lives. But beneath the surface of his charisma lurked a darkness that would ensnare and destroy. His promises of paradise came with a price, one that many were unaware of until it was too late. The idyllic facade began to crack, revealing the true nature of his intentions. This is the story of Elikio Bishop, the cult leader of Carbon Nation, and the devastating consequences of his quest for power. As his influence grew, so did the control he exerted over his followers. What began as a promise of freedom and enlightenment turned into a nightmare of manipulation and abuse. The seeds of his dark charisma had been sown, and the harvest was nothing short of tragic. The allure of his message drew people from all walks of life, each seeking something they felt was missing. But as they became more entangled in his web, the reality of their situation became increasingly clear. The paradise they had been promised was a mirage, and the cost of their devotion was far greater than they had ever imagined. The story of Elikio Bishop and Carbon Nation serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of blind faith and the seductive power of charismatic leaders. It is a tale of hope turned to despair, of dreams turned to nightmares, and of the enduring human quest for meaning in a world that often seems devoid of it. As we delve deeper into this story, we will uncover the layers of deception, control, and ultimately, the resilience of the human spirit. The seeds of a dark charisma were planted, but the lessons learned from their growth will echo for generations to come. Costa Rica, with its lush rainforests and pristine beaches, became Bishop's stage. Here, amidst the raw beauty of nature, he established Carbon Nation. The group's name itself hinted at a return to something primal, a rejection of the artificial constructs of society. And Mexico, too, would become a haven for this burgeoning community, its vibrant culture and ancient traditions woven into the fabric of Bishop's teachings. For those disillusioned with the West, with its relentless consumerism and spiritual emptiness, Carbon Nation offered a seductive alternative. Carbon Nation was more than just a group. It was a way of life, a set of beliefs meticulously crafted by Bishop. He preached a blend of New Age spirituality, veganism, and black empowerment, a potent cocktail that appealed to a diverse range of individuals. He spoke of tapping into one's inner power, of transcending societal limitations, of achieving true enlightenment. His message, amplified through social media, resonated with those seeking purpose and belonging. They came from all walks of life, drawn together by the promise of a better world.
I am Natureboy, your guide to a higher level of consciousness. Follow me, and together we will transcend the limitations of this world.
Elikio Bishop, with his piercing gaze and commanding presence, was the undisputed leader of Carbon Nation. He cultivated an aura of mystique, presenting himself as a guru, a visionary who held the keys to a higher level of consciousness. His followers, captivated by his charisma and teachings, readily accepted his pronouncements as gospel. He was their guide, their protector, their savior. Their devotion to him bordered on worship. Section 5. Twisted Scriptures, a Gospel of Control. As Bishop's influence grew, so too did his control over his followers. He established strict rules governing every aspect of their lives, what they ate, what they wore, who they could speak to. He demanded absolute obedience, punishing those who dared question his authority. His teachings, once empowering, morphed into tools of manipulation. He instilled fear and guilt, isolating his followers from the outside world and making them entirely dependent on him. Section 6. Unveiling the Abuser, Testimonies of Trauma. Behind the idyllic facade of Carbon Nation lay a dark underbelly of abuse. Former members, emboldened by Bishop's downfall, came forward with harrowing stories of their experiences.
They spoke of physical and emotional abuse, of being forced to work long hours without pay, of having their passports confiscated. Women in particular were subjected to Bishop's predatory advances. He preached a doctrine of polygyny, taking multiple wives and justifying his actions as his divine right.
Section 7. A web of manipulation, isolation, and dependence. Bishop excelled at isolating his followers, both physically and psychologically. He moved the group frequently, making it difficult for members to establish roots or maintain contact with loved ones outside the group. He controlled their access to information, limiting their exposure to anything that might challenge his teachings. He fostered an environment of fear and paranoia, turning members against each other and encouraging them to report any signs of dissent. Section 8. Polygamy and Power, the harem of a false prophet. Central to Bishop's control was his practice of polygamy. He preached that he, as the group's leader, was entitled to multiple wives. These women, often young and vulnerable, were groomed for his pleasure. They were subjected to his manipulation and abuse, their lives entirely subservient to his desires. Bishop used polygamy not only to satisfy his own lust, but also to further solidify his power and control within the group. Section 9. Cracks in the Facade, Doubts and Defiance. In the heart of the dense, shadowy forest, where the light barely penetrated the thick canopy, the atmosphere was heavy with an ominous sense of foreboding. The once unyielding facade of Carbon Nation began to show signs of wear and tear, much like the cracks in the forest's ancient trees. Despite Bishop's iron grip, cracks began to appear in Carbon Nation's facade. The members, who once followed him with unwavering loyalty, started to show signs of worry and doubt. In hushed tones, they began to question the very foundation of their beliefs. Suspicious glances were exchanged, and the air was thick with unease. As the abuse escalated, some members began to question his teachings and his motives. The once harmonious group now found themselves huddled in tense conversations, their faces etched with doubt and conflict. The teachings that once brought them together now seemed like chains that bound them to a dark reality. Whispers of doubt turned into open dissent. Heated discussions erupted, and for the first time members stood up and argued against the very doctrines they once held sacred. The courage to defy Bishop grew, and some members decided to leave the group in defiance, seeking freedom from the oppressive control.
A few courageous individuals managed to escape, risking their lives to bring the truth about Bishop's crimes to light. They navigated through the dense forest, their hearts pounding with fear and determination. These brave souls knew that their escape was not just for their own freedom, but to expose the sinister reality of Carbon Nation to the world. Their stories, shared with law enforcement and the media, shattered the illusion of paradise and exposed the darkness at the heart of Carbon Nation. The ex-members recounted harrowing tales of manipulation, abuse and control, painting a stark contrast to the utopian image that Bishop had so carefully crafted. The world listened in shock as the truth unfolded.
Former Carbon Nation members find solace and support in each other's company. In the aftermath of their escape, they formed support groups where they could share their experiences and heal together. Embracing each other, they found strength in their shared journey and began to rebuild their lives in a peaceful setting, far removed from the shadows of their past. Section 10. The walls close in legal troubles and capture. As more victims came forward, law enforcement agencies began to take notice. Bishop, facing mounting legal pressure, attempted to flee the country with his followers. However, his escape was short-lived. He was apprehended and extradited back to the United States to face charges of human trafficking, sexual assault, and racketeering. His arrest marked the beginning of the end for Carbon Nation, but the scars left on his victims would take years to heal. Section 11. Psychological Profile, Narcissism and its Discontents. Eligio Bishop's reign as a cult leader offers a chilling glimpse into the mind of a narcissist.
He possessed a grandiose sense of self-importance, believing himself to be above the law and entitled to whatever he desired. He lacked empathy, viewing his followers as mere pawns to be manipulated for his own gain. His charisma, intelligence, and utter lack of remorse made him a dangerous and effective predator.
Section 12. Scars on the Soul, the Aftermath and the Future. The fall of Carbon Nation left a trail of devastation in its wake.
Victims struggled to rebuild their lives, haunted by the trauma they endured. Families torn apart by Bishop's manipulation grappled with the pain and confusion left behind. The case served as a stark reminder of the dangers of cult mentality and the importance of critical thinking skills.
Section 13. Preventing the Next Profit, Vigilance and Education. In this chapter, we delve into the crucial steps necessary to prevent the emergence of future cult leaders like Eligio Bishop. The key lies in a combination of vigilance and comprehensive education. How can we prevent the rise of future Eligio Bishops? The answer is multifaceted and requires a community-wide effort. It begins with understanding the characteristics and tactics of such leaders.
The answer lies in vigilance and education. Vigilance means being aware of the signs of manipulation and control. It involves recognizing the red flags that indicate someone might be trying to exert undue influence over others. We must be wary of charismatic leaders who demand absolute obedience. These individuals often present themselves as having all the answers and may use charm and persuasive rhetoric to gain followers. They often isolate their followers from the outside world, creating an environment where questioning and dissent are discouraged. This isolation can make it difficult for followers to seek help or see the reality of their situation. We must teach critical thinking skills from a young age. Critical thinking enables individuals to analyze information, question assumptions, and make informed decisions. It is a vital tool in recognizing and resisting manipulation. Encouraging young people to question authority is essential. This doesn't mean fostering disrespect, but rather promoting a healthy skepticism and the ability to think independently. When young people are empowered to ask questions and seek evidence, they are less likely to fall prey to deceptive leaders. We must foster a society that values individuality and critical thinking over blind faith and unquestioning loyalty. Celebrating diversity and encouraging personal expression can help create a culture where manipulation is less likely to thrive. Promoting critical thinking in all areas of life, from education to media consumption, is crucial. People should be encouraged to question beliefs, seek out multiple perspectives, and think deeply about the information they encounter. Only then can we hope to protect ourselves and our communities. By building a foundation of vigilance and education, we can create a society that is resilient to the tactics of manipulative leaders, and future generations from the seductive allure of cults and their charismatic leaders. It is our collective responsibility to ensure that our children and their children grow up in a world where they are equipped with the knowledge and skills to resist manipulation and make informed choices.